Hey, Leo here with Focus Snowboards. Welcome back to another collection of riding tips, and today we're going to unpack the Euro Carve. So if you don't know what this is the turn where you're lying down. It looks really cool, looks like it's a lot of fun, and it is. And we're going to take advantage of a quiet morning, some good grooming, and go through a little step by step for how you can be doing this for yourselves. So for the purpose of today's video, you need to make an assumption that you're already comfortable with holding a clean edge on a snowboard and traveling with a bit of speed. So if this is something you can already do, you're already happy with, you're in a really good place to start understanding what needs to be done to do something just like that. So step one for the Euro is going to be all about the setup. So for me, one of the underrated things to do is get yourself on the ground and feel out what it's actually going to be like to get compact, contacting the snow with your body as the board's on edge. Now you can do this with one arm, two arms, whatever works best, but what's really going to help you is if you can open up your hips towards the direction that you're traveling as you put your body down. So leading forearm and hand down, my hips are open, and that's allowing me a little bit more range of movement and flexibility in here to balance over the edge of my body at the same time. If you think you'd rather just do this with one arm, you can put your forearm down and be in the same position. We've had a go at it in a stationary setup. Now we need to have a go at it on the move. Now you don't have to fly into this for your first few goes. You can go slow pace. Get that forearm on the ground. And you can see already like the board naturally hooks up. So let's take another look at that. Slow speed across the hill. Gonna move to my toes, contact the ground with my elbow, and just gently ride that through. Again, this is very low consequence, very low speed. Elbow down. And even if I ride it to a stop, just like that, no harm done. Really easy to figure out what that's going to feel like as you move from the setup into the middle of that turn. So now we've looked at the setup. Once you're more and more comfortable with getting into that compact position at the start of the turn, as the board moves and hooks up down the hill, that's where you can start to extend your legs and move away from the snowboard. So it does feel like you're kind of pushing away and extending your body away from it. But don't forget, you're still using that forearm as that platform to balance over. So I'll just take a mellow heel side turn setup, just a little bit of speed, just a touch more than before. Elbow down and gently push away. It's got to be gentle, it's got to be smooth, nothing too explosive. And the more you get familiar with it, the more you'll feel out the support that you're getting from your snowboard as you do that. And you can kind of see I start to accelerate and pick up a bit of speed through the bottom of the turn, and that's that really, really exciting feeling where the Euro Carve really comes into its own. So just a small pro tip for the Toeside Euro halfway through on that extension. If you're having a hard time for any reason booting out, and what I mean by that is if you're tipping your board up so much that your toe caps and your boots of your bindings, everything in that space contacts the ground, what will probably happen is the board's going to skip out, lose contact with the snow, and you'll be sliding down the hill on your tummy. So if you're having that problem, when you're in this position and you're pushing out away from your snowboard, if you have a look at the edge angle of the board here, if it comes up too high, it skips out. But I can actually push my heels away from me to lower the edge angle of the board and play around with how much grip I have in that space. So that's a real kind of pro tip in that area there through that extension, especially if you're on a snowboard with a slightly narrower waist width for your boot size. You can still do these things with good success. And you can practice that in your traverses as you go across and extend out. You can push those heels down and really end up with good snow to board contact. So the final part of the Euro Carve, the bottom of the turn, the end of the turn, this is actually one of the more intuitive parts of what needs to be done. As you start moving across the hill, the speed starts to reach its max and then start to slow down. This is where you're going to naturally start to bring your upper body back towards your snowboard. The pitch of the hill that you're on, gravity can help kind of bring that back. And what happens is when you push away through the middle, there's a slight rebound of the board back up towards your body. So it's kind of like an accordion coming back together. The upper and the lower body naturally want to come back together, and then you can push yourself back up off the snow and ride away. Okay, so here we go. Get the setup in, extend, and then naturally the body wants to come back to the snowboard as the board comes back to the body. Slowly and smoothly to start with. There we go, and you can see I'm really waiting for that speed to come down a little bit as I naturally come back closer to the snowboard. As you get more confident, you can change the timing of this, but all I would say is just go really easy for the first few. I've seen all too many riders lay out a really good looking Euro only to get overexcited at the end of the turn and basically spit themselves off the snow and out the back of the turn, which is not comfortable, trust me. So here it is for the right foot forward riders. Nothing changes. It's the same movements, just in the other direction. And equally fun. So there you have it, the Euro Carve broken down into the three parts of the turn. You've got the setup, the extension laid out through the middle, and then the stand-up at the end. So for me personally, just don't lose sight of that setup. Anything you can do to be practicing body and board contact at the start of the turn is only going to contribute to your success as you go through this. And then in addition to that, things you want to look out for. You want to make sure you have snow conditions that are supportive of your body weight. So don't be doing this on packed powder days and things like that. You want good, supportive, firm, hard packed grooming. This is perfect conditions for this. And then outside of that, you want to make sure that your bindings are mounted equally between your heel and toe edge. That's going to remove any unwanted or unnecessary toe drag or heel drag with your boots. And then the final thing is asking yourself if you need a wide snowboard or not. Now, if you've never ridden one, you're not sure about it, feel free to reach out for some more information. Generally speaking, you're going to want a larger boot size to qualify for a wider snowboard, and there's some pros and cons to having a wide snowboard under your feet. But for me, I would just suggest you get out there. If you've got a boot size of 9.5 US and up, maybe go demo one, go feel it out and see what difference it makes for you once you're getting that board up on edge, because it's a different feel and it's going to let you tip that board up further and further.